Ananas. It's bad when you start cracking yourself up. Hello peeps and geeks, this is your Geek Master Jokers, or just Josie, and if the Top 5 Wednesday title sounds familiar to you, that's probably because it is. Top 5 Wednesday is a Goodreads group page by the same name, and as you might have deduced, it is all about sharing your top 5 on whatever topics they choose for every Wednesday of every month. And if you like to join in on the fun, you do not need a YouTube channel. You can also post it on your blog or whatever other outlet there is, including on the group page itself. So today's topic is all about bromances. And as a lover of mysteries myself and odd couple detectives, there's certainly going to be quite a bit of them on my list. While these are not in any particular order, I will leave my most favorite bromance for last. So of course, I gotta start with the original odd detective couple. That is Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson. Sadly, I've yet to watch Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch. I think I said that right. I know, it's blasphemy. I know. I have read some of the stories, though not all of them. This is actually one of 2 volumes, which is, the second one's even thicker. I actually started reading them because there was a year, I don't remember when, quite a bit ago, that I decided to dress up as Sherlock Holmes. And if I can find the picture in time, like by the time I edit and upload this, I will put it somewhere here. So I read several stories because I wanted to embody Sherlock for Halloween. But I haven't read since. Actually, that's probably something I'm going to tackle as a goal for next year. But, I mean, if you've read the original, whether some or all of it, you don't need to read anything else or watch anything else. I mean, even on this list, there's a couple of characters, or bromances, since that's the topic, that I would say, Sherlock Holmes and Watson very much inspired that kind of coupling. They're just amazing. And Sherlock Holmes, he's an amazing character, but so is Watson. I mean, if you had to deal with somebody like Sherlock Holmes in real life, they annoy the crap out of you, probably. So he puts up with a lot too. And he also, and what I love about it is a very symbiotic. Is that symbiotic? Is that what I mean to say? I don't think so. It's a relationship that goes really well together. They play off of each other very well. And they complement each other. I think that's what I meant to say more. Because Watson grounds them in a way that Sherlock needs, and Sherlock can uplift Watson in a way that he needs as well. And it's like I said, they are the perfect odd couple. They are completely complementary to each other, and they need each other more than they'd like to admit. And that's part of why I love them. It's a bromance. Next up, we have Sir Richard Francis Burton and Algernon Charles Swinburne. Say that 3 times fast. And this lovely bromance is from Mark Hodder's The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack. And could we just talk about this cover? It has like the gold foil, and then in the back, kind of reminds me of like newspapers from the Victorian times. So I mean, if you can't tell, this is most certainly steampunk. It's a historical, an alternate history, rather, with time traveling. It's a sci-fi adventure. Sir Burton is a Renaissance man. He is a scholar, explorer, linguist, swordsman, among other things. And Swinburne is a poet, although been failing, and a de Sade follower. And even if you don't know who de Sade is, just think of him as the original Christian Grey of 50 Shades of Grey of his time. Now, if you know these names, but not from this book, you'd be interested to know that these are in fact real historical figures set in this alternate history. And they're amazing. I don't know much of their true history to gauge whether the representation here is accurate or not, but they certainly felt rounded to me regardless. And I certainly enjoyed the interaction between these characters. I especially loved Burton's dry wit and sarcasm, and he has this cynicism about him that's just refreshing. And Swinburne is just off his rocker, but in a really fun way. And just them two together, it's a lot of fun. My next bromance is Arthur Bryant and John May. That is Detective Bryant and May of the Peculiar Crimes Unit mystery series. This is the first one, Full Dark House. This is by Christopher Fowler. I came across this lovely bromance quite a few years ago. I was working in Nordstrom's actually as an operator, and during my break I would go sometimes down to the cafe, sat down, and started to read this. No lie. I mean, if anybody who knows me and knows me well knows that I'm not coy when I laugh. Like, when I laugh, it's with gusto. It's because I mean it. Literally laugh out loud. And that's exactly what I did when I was reading this book. I'm sure I got a lot of weird glances. Didn't care. I was so into the book. I was so into the characters. I do recommend it. I've read the second one, but I haven't read anything since then. It's funny because when you're compiling a list for a tag, you kind of resurface books you haven't thought of in a while. You think, man, this was really great. And then you wonder why the hell you haven't finished the series. And that's kind of what's happening here. Again, this pairing kind of reminds me of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, because Arthur Bryant, he's very eccentric, he's very, that lateral thinker, he's brilliant, and at the same time, he loves to hit up psychics and gypsies and like all this kind of strange stuff that May is just like, what in the world? And May he's the one that is very grounded. He's the one who also kind of serves to warm up the people that Bryant may have burned, because he has like no social, or doesn't really care to have any social grace for that matter. And again, they're just this odd couple. They complement each other and they work like a fine-tuned machine together to solve these really weird and just out-of-the-box mysteries, and it's a lot of fun. So I would suggest it. I mean, if not for the bromance alone, just for, the insanity that goes on here. Here in the back it says, a madcap mystery that's completely crazy and great fun. And I couldn't agree more. Okay, so technically, this isn't cheating so much because it is a book, even though it's a book, the screenplay. But I figure if they can sell it as a book to be read and enjoyed, then it doesn't matter if it's just a screenplay or script or whatever. I'm going to include Newt Scamander and Jacob Kowalski from The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I just love them. Just thinking about them honestly gives me like these warm fuzzies in my tummy, and it's not in a like fan fiction like hook 'em up in a weirdly erotic situations kind of way. Though I do enjoy this from time to time. But it's more of, I don't know, it's very sweet. I think it's what it is mostly because Newt Scamander is a very sweet guy, and so is Jacob, and they're both really odd and kind of, not to say a misfit per se, but it's more, they're just odd, as well as socially, I would think, but they find this groove together, and it's very, I don't know, it's me warm fuzzy. Like describing this terribly, I'm sorry. There's just so many moments, like the movie when they interact and stuff, that they even grow this kind of admiration towards each other, and also this, and it's not that they need each other per se, but they take the best out of each other, if that makes sense. I mean, the last thing that, and I don't want to, in case anybody hasn't seen it, which I can't imagine who hasn't seen it, because I just don't know. At the end, that little thing that he does for Jacob to get his dream, and again, I don't want to go into spoilery territory here, but it's very sweet. I would say most of the even romances in that movie is very sweet. There's just something like, there's so much ugly going around, and then you have these characters who come across each other, and it's kind of like, faith in humanity restored. It kind of feels that way, and them two together, I cannot wait to see more of everything. I mean, just, yeah, Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. Harry Potter Wizarding World, just in general, but them especially. Loved it. And my top favorite, at number 1, absolute, is Fitz Farseer and the Fool, The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. And we have gone sepia. Man, these blue books. My god, this Fitz and the Fool can legitimately be a whole video unto itself. I can go on and on and on and on and on. Absolutely. Wait, I have to regain myself. So, Assassin's Apprentice, I read in 1999. I want to say. Now, this was published in 1995. So, by the time I picked it up from my high school library, it was the first fantasy of its kind that I had read. Previously, I had read other stuff, mostly like Anne Rice, Goosebumps, but I hadn't read like an epic fantasy. And in Fitz, I fell in love with the characters, and it's, I mean, Fitz, he is a very flawed character, and then again, that's part of Robin Hobb's wonder and appeal. Her stories might sometimes not be, so tight and can be repetitive or slow, but her characters are just so amazing. She can take the most minor character and flesh them out completely in a way that just makes them so real. And her story goes on from the first trilogy on to, I don't know, like what? We're at 18 books already or something like that. This is where I first fell in love with them. Then I read the Tawny Man trilogy, which I left that book over there. I'm not going to get it now. But that's the one that honestly broke me. That last one, there's parts of me sometimes that almost kind of want it to be an actual romance. And other times where it's not. And I think at this point, it really transcends any kind of mance, like romance, bromance. Like it's transcended this whole other level, and it's beautiful and it's moving and also heart-wrenching. I read the first one of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, and I have the second one there that's from the library. I have not cracked it open yet. I'll be honest, I'm dreading it just a little bit, because there was already some foreshadowing in the first book that I'm like, oh my god, it's just the way I feel. Both of them have gone through so much. They deserve a good, happy ending. But it's Robin Hobb, that's probably not where they're gonna get. I mean, they got it for a while. I think, and that's one thing, they did get it for a while, and Fitz was able to live a very good life. And I'm just rambling now. See, this is what I mean. They could be just a whole video onto themselves. That's how much I love them. That's how much history also, I think. That's also the reason why. There's just so much history between the characters themselves. I mean, it is a very long series, but also the attachment we have with them. Because I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way about them both and other characters in this world. So, before I go into dangerous territory and continue rambling, I'm just gonna say Fitz and the Farseer. Fitz, Farseer, and the Fool. Hello, I'm already losing my mind. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my top 5, my first top 5 Wednesday for the group. I will leave all the links down below for the group page and all that good jazz. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe. There is so much more coming. There's hauls to be had, both books and blind bags and pops and other stuff, and actual wrap-ups and reviews that are coming. So yeah, just subscribe in general if you like to see more, and hit the notification bell as well so you are notified whenever there's a new video uploaded. And all my social media good stuff, stocking enablers and whatnot, are listed down below. For all of you wonderful readers and geeks out there, have a wonderful week. And for all of you in Texas or have family in Texas, my heart goes out to you, as well as my thoughts and prayers. I've been through Andrew. Even though I was young at the time, but can't forget. So again, and as always, read on, bromance on.
Whatever happens,
These hairs, they're out for my sanity. Richard Francis Burton. I don't know why I'm giggling.